Dad just left. He was helping me try to figure this out, and well, we got close. The rear radius is really close enough that I could massage it and everything. Front radius being tighter and having to fit, that's causing problems. So I'm actually going to end up building a crude sheet metal brake off the edge of this table. I've got some half-inch flat bar and some other stuff that I'm going to use to try and build something that I can maneuver this thing around on the table and just do little bends and try and massage that shape back how I need it. We haven't ruined the piece yet, so we decided to stop. And then hopefully that'll make doing the other side a lot easier. But yeah, it's not an easy shape to bend, and especially with this aluminum having so much spring back to it. We tried to anneal it. I read online, put Sharpie on it and heat it up until the Sharpie burns off and goes clear. Well, you can kind of see where there used to be Sharpie on there, and it helped a little, but not enough. So it's unfortunate. I was hoping to have the hood skinned today, but instead I'm going to build a tool, and maybe by the end of tomorrow I can have it skinned. So we'll see. And yeah, wish me luck. All right, so to do this brake, this table, I didn't build it. I actually got it. My dad got it somewhere, and he had it for years and gave it to me. This edge is a little bit rough, so I'm just going to try and true it up the best I can by running my flap wheel across it as flat as possible. Trying to remove any high points. And then I'll build a hinge off of this side, one off of that side. I got this chunk of 1/2 inch by 4 inch that is actually going to end up being my folding plate. So it'll be hinged to the table. And then I'm going to drill, and I'll see what I have for a tap. Otherwise, I'll just bolt down into this top to where I can make different pieces. So I can, use probably a heavier chunk, but some angle for nice sharp bends. I'm gonna probably use a chunk of a couple different size chunks of round tube. Like for doing this hood, I'll probably use a round upper to make soft edges. But we'll just see. I've never built one of these before, and I'm just kind of winging it. this isn't very fun, but I'm getting somewhere. I got to figure out how I'm going to do the top part still. It's not a real dedicated table for a brake, so I need to make the top section mostly removable. Now that I got this all tacked and it works, I'm going to weld this one on the bottom, weld it solid, and then I'll probably cut the top of this off to where I can maintain my flat table for the most part. There'll be a little bit of a bump up here, and then that one there is pretty well flat. It does stick up that thickness, about a 1/16 is all, but it'll allow me to hopefully do what I need to do. Like I said, I got to figure out the upper piece to be able to hold a mandrel to bend over. And that might just be, cutting a few pieces and welding tabs onto them to where I can clamp them down to the table, or weld them down to the table for now, and then cut them back off when I'm done and grind the table smooth. So getting there. I'm going to clean up a bunch of this stuff and kind of play with some ideas for the upper, and hopefully I can have this thing ready to go for tomorrow. All right, after a little head scratching, still don't know if I got the right idea, but I've got an idea, so we're gonna go with that. On this side, so for getting this, I cut this notch out there. I don't want to go any further because it's getting a little thin on my rotating pin there. And then I notched right here for a set of vice grips. I'm gonna weld that back in and die grind it out nicer, but so I can get a pair of vice grips in there and clamp into a chunk of square tube on this side, and then the other side I have my heavier duty clamp wherever I put it. Oh, over there in the chair. I have that heavier clamp that can actually clamp down right here and be fairly solid. I don't know if it'll be strong enough. I'm probably still going to be threading and drilling and tapping holes to be able to lock down some top bars, but I'm going to try that for right now. Hopefully the aluminum will bend easy enough that I can do that. And yeah, I don't know if this is going to work or not, but it was worth a shot. I had the material sitting up in my loft. It's all extra from previous parts of this build, and I've been wanting to build something like this for a while, so I figured, what the heck, let's do it. And the pieces I had were seriously just long enough to be able to do this hood. If that hood was 2 inches longer, it would not work. I want to thank everyone that's watching. I really appreciate it. This is a little snag, but it's all part of fabrication, and this is actually a tool that I'll be able to use quite a bit. I wish I would have had it all along doing all this body metal work. I'll be able to use it for a few more of the patch panels that I have to do, like on the firewall, and that'll actually be very nice to be able to just roll them up versus what I've been doing, which is just beat on them in a vise. So anyways, thanks for watching. Like, share, subscribe, leave a comment. I love seeing all of that. It helps me a whole lot, and yeah, we'll keep going on this thing. Being a metal hoarder kind of pays off from time to time. Need some handles for pulling up on that brake, and these are off of a ladder rack that I installed a few years ago, and those are going to be beautiful handles. All right, it's the next day. Yesterday took a little longer than we planned on because the auto licensing office was closed, and we had to go to the next town. And yeah, I didn't get back in time to do anything yesterday. So anyways, gonna pick up where I left off. I got the fender skins cut, and I need to break the back of those. I think right now is actually a good time to work on my sheet metal brake that I built the other day and try and actually build the top piece and put some clamp down bolts on it and make it more like an actual brake versus just clamping pieces on there with vice grips. So I think I'm gonna do that, and then I can test it out to break those fenders. I still got to cut the back pieces, and then it'd be nice to get those done and start actually building on this air box for the air intake. This is gonna sit up just a little higher, out right in there, and build a box around it and seal it to the hood, or semi-seal it to the hood. So yeah, it'd be nice to have the aluminum sheet metal work pretty well done today, other than the center console. When I build it, that's going to be out of aluminum as well. Alright, so I don't have any springs to lift this back up once I get the material, broke. When I loosen it up, I cut these. These are going to go on top. I think I'm going to weld in another plate that goes flat down here and weld a washer to my bolt. So I'm going to be using ready rod that's going to go all the way through from above. But I'm going to put a plate down here. Let's see, how am I going to do that? I'm going to weld it to that. Basically, this rod is going to spin. I'm going to weld the nut to the table. That way I can keep everything flush. And when I remove this, it'll all come off in one piece and just have a flat table. So I think I have to do that so I can put a washer under it, welded to the ready rod to lift that up when I thread it out. But these here, those will make good flat clamping spots, because there'll be the other nut is going to be welded on the top and have like a 90-degree handle that sticks off and up. That way I can just quickly run them down. So just kind of playing with things, trying to get it figured out. I got this whole table's bent, as you can tell. It's bent up in the middle. So none of this is going to be precise by any means, but it'll work good enough for what I need. That helps put tension in the center, because that's usually the weakest point. So I'm not going to worry about it too much. But I got this ground down to where it's a nice sharp bend there. The backside I'm not going to grind. I was gonna, but I actually want that so I can turn this thing around and have a larger radius corner to bend. I think that'll be nice for being able to do both. Alright, drilling those holes was not very fun, but got them in. Just finger tight, able to pull it down all the way across. I fold this up. I've got a little bit of separation there. That's probably about as thick of material as I'll ever want to bend on this, so that's good. I gotta just basically build these bolts and put on the flat plates in the bottom, which won't be too bad. And then I can actually use it. Probably throw a little paint on it and call it good. Alright, oh, got a little Dirthead Dave playing in the background. Hold on. Alright, so that's what we're going to do. I went and got a couple 1-inch washers, cut some flats on the sides. Got some 3/4 washers to go here. So I'm going to weld the 1-inch washers to the bottom here to give a nice flat platform. Then I'm going to weld the 3/4 washers onto the threaded shaft here. That way this whole thing will lift and lower with the T-handle that I put on top, or 90-degree handle. I'm not doing T-handle. But that way it'll lift and lower with that, and I don't have to have a spring in here to push this thing up, because I could not find any springs that would fit 3/4 inch all thread. I found some that were 3/4 inch OD, but they were too small. So we're just gonna go this way. It'll work just fine, and we'll keep it going. Alright, those are really hot right now, so I can't touch them, but should be able to thread them down in here for too long. And let's really hope that everything works. It should, though. I checked all the way along, so it's barely sitting in there. It's not ready to go down yet, but yeah, if this all works, I'm going to test it on this brake right here on both fenders. I'll test one and see how that goes. If it works good, I'll do the other. And then if it's all good, I'll grind the rest of that nasty paint off of it and paint it. Oh, I gotta finish welding these up too. I might as well just do that right now while everything's hot, so it can all cool at the same time. So I'll do that real quick, get it welded, and we'll wait till it cools and see how it goes. Alright, I think it's time to test it. It's cooled down enough that I could run the bolts in. I'm gonna have to do a little tweaking on that thing. The bars don't want to spin down in there real nicely, which also I don't want to lube anything up until after I paint it, because I don't want the paint to be terrible. So I'll mess with it, get that figured out. This fender skin, I've got it sitting where it goes. I've gone and I've made little marks because of the back skin comes up underneath this, so I pushed it back 1/16 of an inch on both sides, and we're gonna try and give it a bend. I'll grab an angle finder and figure out how far we need to take this thing, but we're gonna give it a try. All right, so we need to find this angle. See if I can do this. The little weld right there is not going to make it easy, but we need to keep our 1/16. Actually, we'll set that on there. Okay. Sorry about the terrible angle. Okay, so that's the angle that we need. I'm gonna have to probably just eyeball this thing on there, because there's nowhere. I didn't build any gauge into it. That's something I might do in the future, is trying to rig some sort of a protractor onto it and go from there. So we need that to bend up, and of course my marks are on the top, and we got to have the bottom up, so I'm gonna have to do that. All right, so gotta get these marks on the other side. Alright, now slide that in till we can see the marks. Okay. center. That's in the center. All right, lock this thing down. Okay, that's a pretty good clamp right there. Now, let's give it a pull. See? That's not bad. It's not the tightest bend in the world, but you know what? I can add a bridge across the top of this thing too. We gotta go a lot further than that. A lot. A little bit further than that, looks like. Try going off this side, see if it looks any different. Okay, just another little bump on that. It should be alright. That's close though. Okay, I think we're gonna give that a shot. Might have went a little too far, but we can relax it back out. It's not very far too far if it is. So give this a try. Oh wow, that's really close. Probably can't tell. It's very, very close. Let's see how it fits on the Jeep. Yeah, it's just a little bit too far. I'll have to get this pulled back out a little bit, but I mean, that's a decently clean brake. It's not real sharp, which is fine. I can live with it. Cool. It works. All right, it only took me many, many hours to build that, so it could take me very few seconds to break both sides. But I've got a tool now that I can use forever. I'll just keep modifying on it and making it better and better. It's not the greatest thing I've ever used, but hey, for a bunch of scrap metal. If I would have had to buy the big piece of angle, but my dad had that sitting up at his place. It's got a little bit of a bend in it, so it's not perfect, but you know what? It worked for me. If you like what I'm doing here, do me a favor and hit that like button. Subscribe if you're not. You know, leave some comments. I don't know, do you guys like watching the tool build stuff too? It's kind of fun to do. I watch Make It Custom, and he does all kinds of build videos so on tools. If you're needing tools like this, I mean, he builds everything. Go over there, Japan's Customs, but it's Make It Custom on YouTube. Go over there and watch his channel because it's amazing what he does with so little and makes some amazing tools. So anyways, if you like this, like I said, give me a like, subscribe, and stay tuned. We'll keep going. All right, so it was bowing in the middle, and I've seen where people in the past, they just use a chunk of rebar to go up and over the top and give a little support in the center of it. So that's what I did. I went and grabbed a scrap chunk of rebar from my dad's place, welded it on, and I just clamped a small piece right in the center there and clamped it down tight. And this thing is 100% more rigid than it was. Bent a nice, well, it's actually this piece. That's the, see if it'll focus, there we go. That's the bend that it put on it. So I'm very happy with that. And I think this is a tool that I'm going to use for a lot of years. I mean, someday I might replace it with one that's, you know, standalone I can have somewhere else in the shop. But for now, for how for what I do, that works perfect. So anyways, moving on. I got my fenders broke, and I'll be building the center console out of aluminum as well, so I'll be using it quite a bit for that too. A little bit of firewall patchwork to do up under. You know, I can use it and make tight radius with multiple bends like I did on the hood to build that piece. I mean, possibilities are endless. So a little bit of, well, quite a bit of time, some material that I had around. I can't really say it was scrap. It was good usable material, but I already had it. I didn't have to buy anything. So, you know, it works and keeps me moving. I'm happy. All right, got the old paint sanded off of it. This thing is not pretty, not gonna be pretty, don't really care. It works. So I'm just gonna slap some paint on it. I think I have some orange paint up in the cabinet. That's gonna work just fine. All right, we don't have a lot of orange paint. Maybe we'll have enough. If not, it'll just be multicolored. Normally I take this outside to do, but I got nicer vehicles out there. I don't want to get painted orange. So I'll just take a grinder to this table again when I'm done, and it'll be just fun. Running out. That's painted enough. I'm all right with it. Cool. Now we got a tool we can use for years. All right, so I built a sheet metal brake, and well, let's just say she's ugly but gets the job done. I'm thinking about calling it either Town Hoe or Barfly. You guys let me know what it should be named.